Hello everyone and welcome to the 18th weekly update for Citybound. Last week's update had to be skipped because I had loads to do for university. If you want to be informed about things like that, I highly recommend you to follow @cityboundsim on Twitter if you don't do that already. Because there I will announce if I don't have time to make an update, because obviously I can't inform you here on YouTube, because if I don't have time to make a video, I can't make a video about how I don't have time to make a video. Makes sense, right? So anyways, today I got up really early using the power of coffee because I wanted to both finish the update today and watch the Germany versus Brazil football game this evening, and it's already pretty late, so let's see if I can manage to do both. I worked on two things this week, and the first thing is that I completely revamped the user interface and actually the whole system behind zoning. So now you are finally able to draw nice shapes that are aligned to nearby roads for your zones. And this will be the first thing that we will have a look at.
And we will have a look at that indeed, but first let me explain why my voice suddenly sounds so strange. The reason is that I watched the football game before I recorded this in-game footage now, and I watched it at public viewing, and this happened. And now I don't have a voice anymore. But I think we can do the demos anyway. So let's start with the new zoning brush and the new zoning system. If we select the zoning brush, you see that it looks basically like it used to look. If we paint a little bit, you can see that the way that zones are rendered slightly changed. I tried to contrast them a little more with like different hatching styles and by making the color stronger, but that's not really interesting. What is interesting is if we now add roads to the mix. Let's add a nice and curvy road like this, for example. And let's select the zoning brush again. And now when we get close to a road, we get a new kind of zoning brush that is always aligned to the closest road. What we can do now is select a width for our zone that we want to have, and then just click and drag, and the width will be locked. I can move the mouse away and it will just automatically align to the closest point. So it's really easy to draw clean shapes like this. Let's try that a bit more. Some commercial zone over here, maybe industrial zone, even bigger. And finally some really big agricultural zone. So we can of course still, when we are away from a road, use the old circle brush. And if we want, we can also use that when we're close to a road. Just by holding shift, we get our old user interface back. So this is how the new user interface for zoning works, but that's not everything that changed. Because I basically completely rewrote the whole system that is used to store the zoning information. And before, the old system really made a lot of assumptions about the maximum city size, and that was actually quite small, like 2 by 2 kilometers or something. And for testing purposes that was enough, but now with the save game feature and all the other things, I really want to start to test big cities. So now I implemented in a way that just allows you to add zoning info wherever you want. So let's zoom out really far here and just start painting over here or even further away. The green box you can see is the 50 by 50 kilometers, just initial terrain size that I chose. But we can even go outside and like create a city in the air. Let's add a road here. Oh, we're zoomed out really far. And here wow, like I never tried that before. Oh, I guess it's because they're not connected and the cars don't know where to go. But in theory, we can now have a town that's like really far outside, floating in the air, because again, the zoning system doesn't care. It can save zoning information outside here. And this really allows us to make our cities as big as we want.
Alright, so now that you know what the new zone system works and looks like, let's talk about the second thing that I did this week, and this was, as promised, to implement the save game feature. My main goals for this were both to really capture the whole state of the city, of every citizen, where they are, what they're currently doing, and so on, and for it to be very fast and for the resulting save file to be very small. And in order to achieve that, I came up with a custom binary format, which is really fast to read and write and almost as compact as it gets. And I designed the save game system not in a central way, but instead I allowed each part of the game to define its own part of the save game and how to save and load that. And I allowed the different parts of the game to depend on each other. So for example, the cars can say, hey, we need to be loaded after the roads are loaded, because obviously cars depend on roads because they need to be on the roads. So now every part of the game is exactly loaded in the right order. And the great thing about that is that mods will also be able to make use of this whole system. They can define their own part in the save game, write their own custom data, and they can even say, hey, I need to be loaded at this exact place in the order of things to be loaded. So now that you've got a bit of an idea of the system behind the new save game feature, let's actually see the save game feature in action.
Alright, time for the save game feature. Here we started off in a blank map again, but let me hit a special key combination to bring up this file picker. And you can see here is my demonstration save game. The file is only a couple hundred kilobytes big. So let's just see what's inside. Only takes 1 or 2 seconds to load. And here we are during rush hour. You can see that all the cars were in the middle of going somewhere. And we're in the middle of maybe not the most beautiful city that I ever built, but certainly the biggest one that I ever built in Citybound. I built it during the course of this day. And I really tried to, within the gameplay and economy and balancing that already exists, to make it as big as possible. And let's actually see how many citizens actually live there. So here you can see what exactly was loaded. Now let me just inspect and find out. So we have about 3,200 citizens living in the city. And you can see how quickly a city like this loads. Now finally let me also show you another feature, and for that I'm going to reload, open our city again. And now I will show you the quick save and quick load feature, which comes in really handy if you want to try out something. Let's disable the zones here for a second. So let's say we want to make this road here longer. So, but maybe we screw it up. So let's use the quick save feature. You just noticed maybe a little lag and the whole city was saved. And now we can try something with this road like this. Maybe add some zones over here. But now, for some reason, we really don't like it. Because maybe we want to add a shop, a big shop here, or a big mall instead. So let's use the quick load feature to load the save game that we just saved. Just hit this. And we're back without our change. So that's really handy, and because it's pretty quick, we maybe don't even need an undo feature or something like that, because we can just use save games even for already pretty big cities like this.
So for the end of this video, let me again talk about the release date for the alpha, because in the last update I announced that I still want to release the alpha in roughly 1 month. And the reactions I got to that really surprised me, because lots of people said, whoa, don't rush it please, like this feels way too early, because apparently many people have made really bad experience with early access games lately. I don't completely understand that, because all of the games that I started playing in early access have been really great. Like, started with Minecraft, then Overgrowth, Kerbal Space Program, Next Car Game, for example, and all of these I feel were, yes, they were incomplete, but they were already in a state where you could have lots of fun. Maybe there were not even games yet with goals, but they were toys that you could play around with, and that was fun. But this really seems to be the requirement for me. So now my new goal just is, as soon as the alpha is fun, at least for me, I will release it. When exactly that will be, I don't know. I think it's probably not even a good idea to estimate release dates this early on in a project, because sometimes you make a lot of progress, sometimes you don't. You've seen in the update videos, I think, how different it can be. So I will even remove the release date from the homepage and will just leave it in the room as I will release it when it's fun for me. So I hope you're all more or less happy with that. That's all for today's video. As always, please let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section or wherever else I posted this. Thank you all for watching, and see you all next week.